Hey, what's happening, guys? Rules for Rebels here. Just wanted to share a quick article I found with you guys. I happened to stumble upon this the other day. It comes from zdnet.com, and it's titled "WordPress Accounted for 90% of All Hacked CMS Sites in 2018. Backdoors found on 2/3 of all hacked sites. SEO spam on half." So, there's this age-old debate: what's better, WordPress or something like Squarespace, or WordPress running WooCommerce or Shopify? A lot of people who are looking to start blogs, looking to build a website for their business, looking to set up an e-commerce site, everybody goes through which platform is right for me, which platform should I use? And one of the kind of downfalls, or one of the negative things about WordPress, is how often WordPress sites are hacked. Now, this is partially because WordPress sites are so popular. Like I forget the stats, but like something like 60% of websites out there are WordPress sites. So in that sense, it's really no surprise that WordPress sites get hacked a lot. And in this particular article, they weren't really looking at the Shopifys and the Squarespaces. They were more looking at kind of like open source CMSs. So WordPress, Magento, Joomla, Drupal, ModX, PrestaShop, OpenCart, etc. That's one of the nice things about going through something like a Wix or a Squarespace or a Weebly or a Shopify, is they handle the security. You don't have to worry about that. So I think this is one of the things that you should think about if you're kind of making this decision. WordPress has a little bit of a steeper learning curve. WordPress, the security of your site is much more in your own hands. They talk here about how e-commerce sites are especially vulnerable to WordPress hacks, and part of the reason being, a lot of people say WordPress isn't any more unsafe than any other platform, as long as you make sure that you're not downloading, plugins from, unknown sources, plugins without reviews. So that's one of the things about WordPress. It's so flexible, and there's plugins out there for everything. But there's a lot of plugins out there because anybody can create a plugin and put it on the WordPress marketplace. There's a lot of poorly coded and poorly designed WordPress plugins that are going to cause problems with other plugins that you're running, or cause problems with your themes. There's some plugins that kind of leave vulnerabilities for people to get into your site. And another thing they kind of specifically commented about e-commerce sites is e-commerce sites oftentimes tend to be running so many different things, right? You have a plugin for your shopping cart. You have a plugin for an upsell. You have a plugin for this, a plugin for that. And when you have your theme plus all these different plugins that are all interacting with one another, you tend not to update things, because every time you update your version of WordPress, your themes, your plugins, all that type of stuff, every time you update, there's a potential that things aren't going to interact correctly, right? So like maybe a plugin will cause a problem with your WordPress theme, or one plugin will cause a problem with another plugin. So they said that e-commerce sites oftentimes are hesitant to update things because they don't want to break the site, and then that kind of leaves them vulnerable to hacks. And they kind of talked about how a lot of times hackers go after e-commerce sites because they could either change the banking info and have the deposits go into their bank, or they can get your customers' credit card info. For a while, I've kind of run the full spectrum from, I started out running my first e-commerce shop on a Google blog or Blogspot website with PayPal buttons. Then I went to a GoDaddy website. This is like long before Shopify was even around. Then I hired an Indian web design company to build me a custom WordPress WooCommerce site. And I think on 2 or 3 occasions, my site got like hacked and rerouted to some like weird Russian site. So having your site hacked and having malware and stuff put on your site, it's a common problem that WordPress sites run into. But, I break it down like this, just in terms of security. If you're somebody who's not computer savvy, if you're somebody who's not going to go to the efforts of really securing your site, if you're not going to use really good passwords, maybe WordPress isn't for you. If you're somebody who is willing to kind of invest the time and effort in securing your own site, well, then WordPress can be a great option. It does, in a lot of ways, offer a lot more flexibility, and it can be a lot cheaper than running on Shopify or paying Squarespace or something like that. Would be curious to hear your guys' input. Like, how many of you guys are running WordPress? Have you been hacked? Do you have any plugins or anything like that you'd recommend that stop like brute force hacks? Any other tips or advice that you guys have to share with people? This is a pretty quick article, so I figure we give it a quick read through. Goes on to say roughly 90% of all the hacked content management systems, or CMSs, Sakuri, which I think that's probably like an internet security firm, investigated and helped fix in 2018 were WordPress sites. In a distant second, third, and fourth came Magento, Joomla, and Drupal, according to a report the company published yesterday. Sakuri experts blamed most of the hacks on vulnerabilities in plugins and themes, misconfiguration issues, and a lack of maintenance by webmasters who often forgot to update their CMS themes and plugins. So I know a lot of us are into passive income, so maybe you have some sites that you set up and kind of let run on auto and you don't check back on very often. This potentially creates a vulnerability. Let's see. Experts said that only 56% of the sites they investigated were running an up-to-date CMS at the time they were called in to remediate an attack. So, just a little over half of people were running like the most updated version of WordPress or Joomla or whatever else. E-commerce sites often left out of date. But while 90% of all hacked sites were WordPress, most of these were running up-to-date versions. So in the case of WordPress, most people were running the most up-to-date version of WordPress. Sakuri said that only 36% of the hacked WordPress sites that the company investigated ran an outdated version. On the other hand, CMSs like PrestaShop, OpenCart, Joomla, and Magento, when found to be hacked, they were almost always running an out-of-date version. And let's see, outdated and effective CMS distribution, so here's kind of a breakdown. This trend in outdated versions supports the idea that e-commerce sites are often notorious for straggling behind on updates to avoid breaking functionality and losing money, Sakuri said. Attackers have a high interest in targeting e-commerce websites with valuable customer data, i.e. credit card and user information. It's imperative these website owners update their software to ensure their sites have the latest security enhancements and vulnerability patches. Yet despite some sites running outdated CMS versions, the leading cause of infection stemmed from component vulnerabilities, Sakuri said. SEO spam is on the rise, and when attacks happen, Sakuri said that attackers usually deployed backdoors, with the company finding 1 on 68% of the compromised sites investigated. Sakuri experts said hackers also used around 50% of the hacked sites to host malware for other operations and deployed SEO spam pages on 51% of the hacked sites, a number that has risen in the past year from 44% in 2017. SEO spam is one of the fastest growing families over the previous year, Sakuri said. They are difficult to detect and have a strong economic engine driven by impression-based affiliate marketing. Most frequently, the result of search engine poisoning or SEP attacks, where attackers attempt to use site ranking to monetize on affiliate marketing or other black hat tactics. SEO spam typically occurs via PHP database injections or HT access redirects. So here's just kind of an interesting fact for you that I heard recently. I recently heard that if you're able to get on the front page of Google for the term Viagra, you can make $25,000 per day. So if you can manage to get on page 1 of Google for even one day, that's worth 25 grand in Viagra affiliate money. And so I think what they're talking about here is somebody hacking your site and either displaying banner ads, or another thing they could do is put hyperlinks into your articles. So if you have, they might be able to put something similar to like VigLink on your site that's going to turn your content into hyperlinks that are going to make them affiliate money. And then the other thing for kind of like SEO spam, if I could hack into, I don't know, let's say I have a site about paddleboarding. If I could hack into other paddleboarding sites and kind of put links here and there, on sites that rank well, that's going to help my SEO. So I think that's kind of what they're talking about there. Websites impacted by SEO attacks often become infected with spam content or redirect visitors to spam-specific pages. Unwanted content is regularly found in the form of pharmaceutical ad placements, okay, so like we said, Viagra, but may also include injected content for other popular industries like fashion or entertainment, i.e. pornographic material, essay writing, fashion brands, loans, and online gambling. Let's see, we got another chart of malware family distribution in 2018. So 68% backdoor, 56% malware, 51% SEO spam. Okay. I think that's the end of the article right there. So, just something to think about if you're, kind of going through the whole, should I do WordPress? Should I do Wix, should I do Weebly, should I do Squarespace? You know, WordPress is great. It's really flexible, and if you don't really need to use paid plugins, you know, Bluehost or HostGator or something like that, $3.95 a month, and you're running a website, as opposed to paying Shopify $29 a month, or Squarespace, I don't know, $19 a month. So it can be cheap, or it can be cheaper to do WordPress. You have some more flexibility, but you're also responsible for your own security. So I thought you guys might find this interesting. Maybe it gives you something to think about, you know, if you're thinking about what platform to run your website on. That's all I got for you guys today. Anything you have to share about website security, WordPress, anything like that, go ahead and drop it down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.